And that is right, and you heard it. So MVNU, just a quick recap. We already took care of the scoring on the afternoon, and we of course were definitely happy. Mount Vernon was able to get a big win this afternoon, 89-59. And one thing that Coach Schwartz said in her post-game interview was, "Hey, while it's a great win for us this afternoon, this is a huge week. This is a huge week for MVNU. We're trying to be able to host our first ever home playoff game in team history, and we're either going to have to beat Marion or Indiana Wesleyan or both in order to ensure that we are at least the number 4 seed in the Crossroads League tournament." And she said that as long as we shoot the basketball the way we did today, that the team is looking really, really good to be at least the number 4 seed. She said that there's a chance that Mount Vernon could still be the 3 seed. That's a long shot. It either would have to be with an Indiana Wesleyan. It either is going to have to be if IWU loses out or Taylor loses out is the only way that Mount Vernon would be able to get to that number 3 seed. But definitely a step in the right direction here this afternoon. Of course, we want to get you all of the latest scores that we can as well. And we want to start with the men's scores this afternoon. And MVNU able to defeat Goshen on the road. So MVNU with a huge conference win, defeating Goshen 98-68. Mount Vernon shot 56% from inside, 42% from beyond the arc. Goshen just 34% from inside, 37% from beyond the arc. 20 points for Jevin Knox, 22 points for Kyle Kegley, 18 for Clay Hilliard, 13 for Eric McLaughlin, and 12 points for Cade Ruschegger, 7 points for Eddie Driscoll. And leading the way for Goshen, Taja Curry with 23, 17 for Braden Kingery, and 12 for Robert Sanders. Also, other conference scores this afternoon. The Grace College Lancers are going to defeat the Taylor Trojans. Taylor going to fall to 5-10. Great performance by C.J. Pena, though. 22 points for Pena, 12 for Jason Hubbard. Grace leads 78-64 with 40 seconds to go. So Grace is going to come back with a win. Jacob Gibbs, 20 points, 13 points for Jake Wadding, and 14 for Frankie Davidson, 15 points for Elijah Malone as well. Other men's games this afternoon, Indiana Wesleyan flipping the switch on Bethel in the second half. Travion Cruz, he missed a few shots in the second half. He was perfect the first half, 29 points. He has 31 points with a minute 10 remaining in the game, 10 of 13 shooting, 6-8 from beyond the arc, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. And Indiana Wesleyan 100-78. So IWU going to win another game, and they definitely are going to clinch the number 1 seed in the Crossroads League with the win today. Kyle Mangus, 37 points off 13 of 23 shooting, 6 of 13 from beyond the arc. Seth Maxwell, 20 points, 9 of 13 shooting, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, and 5 rebounds. So Indiana Wesleyan going to win. So we're going to get to your other women's scores. This afternoon, St. Francis getting a non-conference win over Spring Arbor, 67-59. So great to see Spring Arbor recover from that tough loss against MVNU on Wednesday. And also looking at MVNU's scoring, as I said, MVNU 89-59 scoring, and they shot the ball well. 3 out of 4 quarters scoring at least 20 or more points. So that was excellent to see Mount Vernon just contribute so well on offense. Goshen committed 22 turnovers. Mount Vernon turned those into 25 points. So that was the difference maker in today's game. 13 turnovers for Mount Vernon, and Goshen turned those into 15 points. Goshen ends the day 36% shooting from inside, just 25% from beyond the arc, and 68% from the free throw line. MVNU shooting 49% on the day from the field and shooting 42% from beyond the arc. So that was definitely a great sight to see MVNU doing that today. And MVNU 92% at the free throw line. The only miss was Maria Dobson late in that fourth quarter. And as I said, Riley Peru, 24 points off 6 of 9 from beyond the arc, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. And nobody in in nobody was able to get a double-double on the afternoon. But boy, what an equal scoring between Riley Peru, Maggie Coe, and Taylor Gregory. I mean, you love to see that. Maggie Koblenz, Sage Brandon were all right there as well, being able to contribute there, and MVNU able to get a big win this afternoon. So how does the playoff race stand right now? Well, we are going to get you down to MVNU or Huntington and Marion, because this was a very, very key game this afternoon, and Marion able to beat Huntington 87-71. So that helps. That helps Mount Vernon. Huntington falls to 7-7, and Marion just shot really, really well. 19 points for Sam Vaughn. I tell you what, Sabot for Huntington, 24 points on the day, 6 of 10 from beyond the arc. She has played so well the last few games. Alexandria Bope with 11 points for Marion, 17 points Amani Guy, and 3 rebounds. Ella Collier with 10 points, as well as Macy Willoughby, 11 for Abby Downard. I said Macy Willoughby with 10, and Tamia Perryman also with 10. So that's a huge win for Marion, 87-71. Marion takes the win there. So the Marion Knights do improve on the year. Marion goes to 15-0 in conference play. They go to 23-4 overall. Huntington falls to 11-8 overall, 7-7 in the Crossroads League. And St. Francis goes to 14-10 overall with their win today, 7-7 in the Crossroads League. Goshen falls to 7-18 overall. I alluded to that earlier, 3-11 in conference play. So Goshen has not locked the number 7 seed quite yet. With one win out of the last 2 games for Goshen, would officially lock them the 7 seed. They do hold the head-to-head tiebreaker over Grace. Grace only has 1 conference game left. That is against Huntington next Saturday. Bethel plays Indiana Wesleyan coming up here at 3 o'clock. Taylor did not play today. They play on Wednesday against Indiana Wesleyan. Indiana Wesleyan plays Bethel here this afternoon. Mount Vernon draws within 1 game of Taylor. So with a Taylor loss to Indiana Wesleyan and a Mount Vernon upset win over Marion, Mount Vernon would officially climb to the would actually be a half game behind Taylor for the number 3 seed. So it really looks like things are going to come down to next Saturday. The good news is for Mount Vernon, they are able to get to that 9-game threshold, so they're looking very, very good to host. Goshen falls to 3-8 on the road. Mount Vernon improves to 8-2 at home. Mount Vernon on a 4-game winning streak. And it's going to be a tough task. And even if you lose to Marion on Wednesday, you're still looking really, really good. Huntington, we said, falls to 7-7, so Mount Vernon will be up. I believe they might be up 2.5 over Huntington here with 2 to play. Now, please note, Huntington does hold the tiebreaker over Mount Vernon, and with Huntington's loss today, St. Francis does climb back up to the number 5 seed because St. Francis holds the head-to-head tiebreaker over Huntington. So right now, Mount Vernon would have a rematch with St. Francis next Tuesday night, February 23rd, and that's how it looks right now in the Crossroads League. So MVNU does get to that 9-game threshold, but it's not going to be an easy road moving forward. And you got the top 2 teams left. Number 4, Marion on the road Wednesday, where Mount Vernon has not won at all on the road versus Marion. However, that was the same case with St. Francis on January 27th. That Mount Vernon had not won a game there. They were able to win the game there and end that streak. So it's possible that Mount Vernon upsets Marion, but it's going to be a tough task. I think Mount Vernon's best chance is against Indiana Wesleyan next Saturday, where Mount Vernon has played them so tough at Lucky Arena back on January 16th. So a lot left. There's a lot left to go. There's a lot left to go this afternoon, and we know that that there's a lot of things left. Now Mount Vernon, though, they do get the win this afternoon, and Mount Vernon goes back to 7-7 on the men's side. Huntington, with a win over Marion, will also go to 7-7. Grace goes to 7-8. So MVNU men, there's a chance they could get a home game. They got Marion and Indiana Wesleyan left, the two top seeds. So obviously the men's side too wide open right at the moment. And you look at the women's side, and again, things could change. But Mount Vernon looking pretty good to potentially be that number 4 seed. Now the question is, are they going to play St. Francis or are they going to play Huntington? They're either going to play St. Francis or Huntington in the tournament. In the opening round of a tournament, we just don't know exactly who it's going to be yet. St. Francis does hold the tiebreaker over Huntington, so if both of those teams finish at 8-8, St. Francis would be coming right back to Ariel Arena next Tuesday night at 7, unless otherwise noted, to take on MVNU. And so MVNU, they could lose out and still be 9-7 and also still have that home court advantage. But now if Mount Vernon loses to Marion on Wednesday and Taylor loses to Indiana Wesleyan, then Mount Vernon could not catch Taylor for the number 3 seed. Mount Vernon would be 9-6. Taylor would be 10-5. So Mount Vernon would not be able to catch Taylor. So the only way Mount Vernon can be the 3 seed is win out. There's just no other scenario at this particular point. But MVNU looking really, really good to be that number 4 seed in the Crossroads League tournament. I think Mount Vernon's definitely going to be the 4. I really, really do. And that's, I think, about as high up as what they could go based on their remaining schedule yet. And really, between the two, you'd rather host St. Francis than you would Huntington. But the only way Mount Vernon would host St. Francis is with a Huntington loss to either Goshen or to Grace coming up on Wednesday, or to Grace next Saturday. So a lot of things left to go, but first things first, Mount Vernon does get a huge win today. They go to 9-5 in conference play. They're the most conference wins that they have had since the 2017/28 season, where they went 9-9. And the last time Mount Vernon won 9 conference games, they were tied, like I said, at 9-9. They were in a 3-way tie, also with Huntington and St. Francis, believe it or not. So obviously, that's huge. Now, obviously, Mount Vernon not going to be able to be in a 3-way tie with Huntington and St. Francis because of the win against Goshen today. But still, that's pretty impressive to win 9 conference games 3 years later, and also be chasing that number 4 seed, also with Huntington and St. Francis lurking right behind them. And so I think Mount Vernon's looking better to host St. Francis than they are Huntington, believe it or not. And the way Grace played Huntington the first time, I think Grace has a really good chance at beating Huntington. But the thing for Grace is they've been on such a long layoff. They play a non-conference game against Spring Arbor on Wednesday, and I think that's what could get Grace in position to succeed against Huntington. That's what Mount Vernon needs. Mount Vernon, it's really going to come down to next Saturday. In order to host St. Francis, Mount Vernon is going to have to either beat Indiana Wesleyan at home next Saturday, or hope for a Huntington loss versus Grace. That is the only way Mount Vernon is going to host St. Francis, and more than likely be that number 4 seed. Mount Vernon cannot afford to lose out the last 2 games. I mean, they can, but they really can't afford to lose out. They could, now on the opposite side of that, they could afford, in a sense, to lose out, but they would have to hope for a Huntington loss versus Goshen or Grace to still be that number 4 seed at 9-7. So it's all going to come down to these last 2 games. But MVNU, a 30-point winner today, 89-59. And thanks so much for joining us, and I'll be with you on the call of next week's game versus Indiana Wesleyan next Saturday from my home, actually from my bedroom at home. So definitely looking forward to that. I'm going to need lots of water though, as we're definitely excited for that one. And Mount Vernon plays Iowa like they did today. Iowa and Mount Vernon going to be looking excellent to defeat Indiana Wesleyan and maybe end the regular season in receiving votes. The next poll comes out Wednesday, February 24th, one day after the postseason quarterfinals are over. Thanks so much for being with us today. Be sure to tune in with me next Saturday for the game. The game starts at 1. Pre-game show will start at 12:30, so make sure you join me early. I'll run you down all the scenarios and get you all fired up and ready for that game coming up next Saturday. And thanks so much for joining us today, and we hope you have a great and safe rest of your day and weekend, and be safe with the big snowstorms that are heading our way tomorrow and Monday, and then again potentially on Thursday. So we hope for safe travels for our MVNU students coming back tomorrow, as well as going home next weekend, like it will be for me as well. So thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day, and God bless you all.